CBS News Radio.
This is CNET, and here are the stories that matter right now.
Virtual reality is one of those interesting technologies where it has a lot of promise, and we're still trying to figure all of that out. A startup called Hero is actually trying to use VR technology to help bring an eye exam to your home. There are actually little cameras inside of the headset that Hero uses to be able to identify where your eyes are moving and understand how they are changing as you respond to the exam. Perhaps sometime in the not too distant future, we'll be able to bring the eye doctor to our headsets at home.
Stay up to date with the latest by visiting cnet.com.
For the Breaking News Network, you can hear CBS News Radio.
I'm Gail King. Joining us now is at 9:30. Her name is Erica Suter. Erica, listen, even just hearing the music from the podcast, that ding, 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 brought me all back to this case because I followed it from the very beginning, listening to the podcast serial, and I kept going back and forth, back and forth. And the more I listened to it, the more I was convinced that an injustice had been done here. So I don't want to say how is he feeling. I'm sure he's over the moon, but I want to know the moment that he got the news, what that was like for his team.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a wonderful moment. I was able to FaceTime with him and tell him what happened, and he was just incredibly grateful, incredibly happy. I mean, he was standing up, and he said he needed to sit down, to process the information. He always comes from a place of gratitude, and he's just thankful to all the people who supported him.
He does come from a place of gratitude, and at one point, correct me, help me remember this, wasn't he at one point offered a plea deal and he refused it?
He was back in 2018 when his case was pending before the Court of Appeals. He had already won a new trial twice, and he was offered a plea deal, but he would have had to admit this crime. He would have had to plead guilty and say that he was guilty of this, and he wasn't willing to do that.
No, their DNA testing, was it not available back then? Is that what has led to the change today? Why we're at this place?
Well, there's a number of factors, and sort of the lead factor in vacating this conviction was evidence that someone else made a threat against the victim that wasn't turned over. And under the law, that sort of information is the defense, so that you have a fair opportunity to defend yourself. So that's really sort of what's at the heart of this. But there's also DNA testing. There's testing that's been done in 2018, and the additional testing that was done more recently. And again and again and again of this testing, none of it connects to Adnan. And the most recent testing was DNA from other people actually excluded him.
And what do you say to people? I'm thinking about Heyman Lee's family, because listen, they lost a beloved daughter here, so they are still very much in pain. That people that say, listen, justice has not been served, who still may doubt whether Adnan is innocent.
To the family of Heyman Lee, Adnan and I continue to express our deepest sympathy. This was somebody that was Adnan's friend. This was somebody that he cared about. And it's never been lost on Adnan, the suffering of her family. And we all have to understand that her entire home has been upended. They've believed this one thing for all of this time, and now their world has shifted. And that's one of the major problems with wrongful convictions, is sort of that ripple effect that impacts the victim's family, that impacts the public, that impacts the accused's family. It has really wide-reaching effects.
I know I keep thinking about that family today, but I'm also thinking about finally justice has been served for Adnan. And can you tell us a little bit about him? Like, what were his plans before he was accused of this crime? He's 17 years old. He seemed to be a very popular kid in school. What were his plans, his dreams?
He was 17 years old. He was a sweet kid. He was accepted into college. He planned on majoring in pre-med. He planned on becoming a doctor. In sort of the middle of his life, at the very beginning, we were all figuring out who we're going to be, what kind of adult we're going to turn out. And, he was snatched from his family and incarcerated for these past 23 years.
Yeah, you can't get those 23 years back. What are his plans now? Does he even know? So much has changed in the
Well, of course, he wants to. It's very important to him. He had the benefit of actually being able to begin a Georgetown education while he was incarcerated through the Georgetown Scholars Program, and it's very important to him that he finishes his Georgetown degree. He also has dreams of going to law school.
He has a lot of people cheering him on. Erica Suter, we thank you for your time today. I appreciate that.
CBS News Brief. Reaction this morning from Donald Trump to a unanimous vote yesterday by the House January 6th committee to subpoena him.
Former president points at his own social media platform. Reporter on Fox News website, it quotes a source close to Trump, who says the former president.
CBS's Stephen Portnoy. The Commerce Department says retail sales rose 0.3% in September. Ted Rossman of Bankrate.com.
Sales were basically flat. I think one way you could put it is that consumers are spending more, but they're not really getting more, because when you adjust for inflation, people are kind of right back where they started.
A 15-year-old boy who police believe shot and killed people in Raleigh, North Carolina yesterday. Condition. Police Chief Stella Patterson this morning.
5 individuals lost their lives, including duty Raleigh Police Department officer.
CBS News Brief. I'm Christopher Cruz.
When you need to know, turn to CBS News Radio.
CBS Eye on Veterans from Connections.com. Chris Deutsch from JusticeForVets.org shared how a Vietnam veterans court case inspired the Veteran Treatment Court.
He was barely responding verbally in the courtroom. And in a moment of exasperation, Judge Russell asked his court coordinator and another staff member who were both Vietnam vets, he said, "See if you can reach me." The next time Judge Russell calls the case, the guy stands at parade rest. Judge Russell says, "Are you willing to accept the help we're offering you?" And he says, "Yes, sir."
Decades later, it's still helping veterans across the country get their lives back on track.
The light bulb went off and Judge, we have this treatment court model. Why don't we adapt it specific to veterans?